Welcome into Falcons Today. I am Tom Downey, and because the Falcons play the Steelers, A, preview coming up, but B, we're in a battle with our Steelers YouTube channel here, Steelers Talk. They've been bad this year, football, because the Steelers are not good at all. And we're going to have a little sub-battle with them. And it is backed by science that whoever wins the sub-battle has a better chance of actually winning on the field come Sunday. So hit that subscribe button for free Falcons videos all year long. Help us beat the Steelers on the field and off it. Week 13 is finally here, and maybe too soon after what happened in Week 12 for the Falcons. Atlanta has a better record right now than the Pittsburgh Steelers, but with where the Falcons are at, still alive, A, for the division crown, and in the wild card spot behind the Bucs and Commanders respectively, and knowing how the head-to-head has gone for those games for Atlanta so far, they've got to win this game. I know the Steelers are not the best team out there, and the records, you can lose the game and still make the playoffs. This is pretty much a must-win game for the Atlanta Falcons if they actually want to make the postseason. Otherwise, they're just going to come up short. The Steelers are not a good team this year. They've been a bit of a mess. Mike Tomlin's a great coach, don't get me wrong, but this is a game the Falcons need to win if they're going to actually make the playoffs this year. So keep that in mind as you break down to begin. Latest injury news on the Steelers. Chuma Edoga, the offensive guard, is questionable. It's an early questionable. The official doesn't come out till Friday. There's practices and whatnot. Edoga played well against the Bears, his lone start this year. He is battling a knee injury right now. Tying this in at the left guard position is Elijah Wilkinson. Arthur Smith says he has a shot to have his window activated and return from IR by Wednesday. Once the clock starts, i.e. once they return to practice, 21-day window to get some practice reps in, then be cleared, or you're out for the year. So once the window starts, they can be activated at any point, but 21 days is the longest it can go, not the minimum. I know there's some confusion around that standpoint, but hopefully Wilkinson back soon. He's been better than I expected him to be this year for the Falcons. Steelers injury news-wise here, Najee Harris abdomen, that's not a word. They're, of course, coming off tight turnaround from Monday Night Football. Keller Witherspoon battling a hamstring. Robert Spillane, he's a backup along with Miles Boykin, Jalen Warren. Witherspoon and Harris are the ones at least I'm going to be watching this week. Let's talk keys to victory then for the Atlanta Falcons. Number one, the secondary must find a way to hold up, or it could end up being a long game. Now, Kenny Pickett has been up and down this year, but the Steelers have some playmakers at receiver and tight end, 3 different players with over 500 yards. Now, that's not going to be 1,000, but it'd be pretty cool if it was. George Pickens has been the big play machine for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Downfield success, contested catches, highlight reel grabs. He's been dynamic despite not leading the team in catches or in yards. He has the best average by a pretty good margin. Pickens has been a stud so far this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would argue probably deserves a bigger target share than what he's getting, but I don't love Matt Canada as the Steelers' offensive coordinator. I am very curious what the Falcons do when it comes to A.J. Terrell. Does he travel with Deontay Johnson, who's been their number one receiver this year? George Pickens, does he get matched up on some of the injured corners? Or Terrell himself? The contested catch ability for George Pickens should scare you, because even when you're not actually open, he finds a way to make plays and make catches. So Pickens, because of how dynamic he's been on a smaller target share, is certainly a player that you should be worried about. All right, who you got in this game? ATL for the Atlanta Falcons, PIT for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The pinned comment on today's video. Head down there and flood the comment section with some ATLs for me. Key to the game, number 2. The defensive line has got to get pressure. Now, Pickett's been a little bit better at this in recent weeks, but the offensive line has not been the best so far for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're all kind of okay-ish. That's not been great, but remember, pressures are more of an offensive line set. How badly did you get beat? Sacks are oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes a quarterback stat, at least in part. And Kenny Pickett has issues. Yeah, this dating back to his days at Pitt. He's got some, I call it mental scarring from his early career with the Pitt Panthers. When the offensive line was bad and he bails on clean pockets, he panics under pressure, he's not that good when there's pressure. The Steelers allowed the 8th most sacks this year. At least some of that is to be blamed on Kenny Pickett, who is a decent athlete, but will get a little bit antsy back there in the pocket. And he's been known to commit some turnovers as well. 8 interceptions this year against 3 touchdowns. It's a bad ratio, but there have been some flashes and promises and ups and downs overall that I think are worth monitoring for Kenny Pickett. I'm hoping that Grady Jarrett can have himself a big day against Steelers. The interior O-line's not that great for Pittsburgh. They've kind of shuffled things around. James Dan has been a bit of a disappointment so far this year. Jarrett could be in for a nice game as he continues to be one of the better defensive linemen, I argue, in the entire NFL. Deal alert for you guys from our friends over at Fanatics. Falcons hoodies are on sale at chatsports.com/Falcons Today. That URL certainly checks out, right? A lot of variety. I love the black one, by the way, and the stripes. I don't always like that, but I think it actually works really well for the Falcons side of it. Chatsports.com/Falcons hoodie. Links in the comments section and in the description. Go get yours. Perfect holiday gift right now. Number 3, how about you working Caleb Huntley a little bit? I'm not saying do all of it here, but this is what's intriguing to me. And this is some nerd stuff, I know. What you're looking at here is rushing yards over expected, percentage, and like just the overall volume and the carries, all that stuff. So it's nerd stuff. And the green stuff is up there, right? You want to be good. You want to have a high over expected percentage and then the volume as well. So boomer bust is top left, guys that they either get big plays or they're not doing all that much. Bottom left, those guys are bad. They're not having good success this year. Bottom right, they've been reliable, but they don't have big plays. Caleb Huntley is all the way over there. A very high percentage of carries exceeding expected yards and a very high of the average expected yards over the top of it. So this is a undervalued player. That's why that little circle is so small. That reflects volume. Explosive play guy, and you should find ways to get the ball to your explosive playmakers. There's a lot of good backs over there, and I will make note you got Cordarrelle Patterson not that far behind Caleb Huntley either. Right there, you can kind of see the long text with the tiny little black or red dot. Get those guys involved. I would argue a bit more so than Tyler Allgeier. It was just also over there, by the way, just way, way, way over there. Trying to get over there eventually. I can't. I'm not a weatherman, as you can tell. Oh, it gets cut off too. But you can kind of see where it is. It's just near the middle. Huntley's been explosive, though. Here's a great note I should make from Michael Rothenstein. Arthur Smith at Caleb Huntley only having 1 carry was a function of how the game went. Low possession, low offensive snap game. It's a good problem to have because Allgeier and Patterson are all running well, but he would like to get him the ball more. I suppose that's fine, but Huntley does offer you a little bit more big plays. I'm not taking snaps away right now from Cordarrelle Patterson. I'm not trying to take snaps away from him, but I do think, let's cut into Allgeier's snap count just a little bit because those explosive plays are incredibly valuable. And I think it's a little bit ridiculous to say that a 57-snap game, I can't find a way to get Huntley more than 3. I can't get on board with that when Allgeier's getting 22 and you got Avery Williams getting 7. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me offensively. I think you got to do a better job there. And mixing in Huntley does this part too. And this is what I think more teams should be doing. It keeps all the backs fresh. Now, maybe if you're a Cordarrelle Patterson fantasy owner, you disagree, but you want that ground game in the 4th, assuming you're not getting involved, which you shouldn't be against the Steelers, being in the mix. So Patterson, Allgeier, and Huntley should all be involved, at least a little bit more on offense. Huntley brings you too many big explosive plays to have his snap count basically be 0 the last 2 weeks. Getting the ball, just even a handful of touches per game is all I'm asking for a team that wants to run the football a lot. The Falcons have one of the best ground games in the entire NFL. They are 4th. The Steelers are a great run defense. 6th in yards per game allowed on the ground. This should be a metric that the Falcons should still be able to have some success at this year. The Falcons can run it well. The Steelers do defend it at a very good level. So keep that in mind, that maybe you can't only run the football this week. Although I think the Colts had success against the Steelers, they should still run the football, and I trust Arthur Smith more than most defensive coordinators to build a good ground game. With that said, our 4th key to the game, stretch the the field at least a little bit. I'm not saying go full air raid with Marcus Mariota, but you should take some shots downfield. Take the occasional play action shot downfield to one of your giant receivers in Drake London or Kyle Pitts. If Pittsburgh does not fear the ball, the pass at all, they will load the box. That, of course, typically leads to less success on the ground, but it opens up those vertical shots. Now, Marcus has to hit them and not miss wide open Kyle Pitts, for example, but those play action shots should be used by the Pittsburgh Steelers or by the Falcons, and there's some speed too. Damiere Byrd has 9 catches for 229 yards. He's been the speedy vertical threat. Go max protect play action vertical shot 1 or 2 times, get the safety to bite, see if they can win downfield. Maybe Byrd's speed against a not great Steelers secondary, namely at corner, can have some success. Before we go, I want you guys to predict the score for me of the Falcons against the Steelers. Head down to the comment section and let me know right now.